everybody. Welcome back to SportsKhabri. In today's podcast, we will be speaking with Aakriti Vohra. Aakriti is the India delegate of La Liga Global Network. La Liga, as we all know, is one of the biggest football leagues in the world. Let's find out from Aakriti what it is like to represent the league in India and find out more about her journey so far. Hi, Aakriti. Welcome to SportsKhabri. Thank you for speaking with us today.
Hi Akshata, thanks for taking out time to speak with me. It's always a pleasure interacting with you.
Thank you, Aakriti. So, Aakriti, growing up, did you ever think or did you ever dream of working at the biggest football league in the world?
I mean, I think we all dream of big things growing up, and I was always interested in working in sports. What capacity I didn't know, and the fact that I'm working with La Liga today, definitely it wasn't in my growing up dream per se, but definitely it is a dream job or a dream come true now.
So, Akriti, tell us, how did you get into the world of sports?
Akshata, it's an interesting story, and I'm glad you asked. So I was graduating in 2009, I think, and that's when the Commonwealth Games was about to come into India, and it was touted to change the landscape of sports in India. And there was conversation about how this professional event coming to India is really going to change everything. And in a manner of saying, that was the actual start of the change of the sports industry, if you ask me, in India, apart from cricket, of course. So when I graduated, instead of getting into the usual corporate rat race, or whatever you call it, the race on the ladder of the corporate journey, I thought, let's do something different. And that's how I ended up doing a sports management course in India, and that led me to start with the Commonwealth Games. And then one thing led to another, and I've had a journey in the sports industry now. But the idea to start was primarily because I wanted to do something different, and I didn't want to get into something monotonous or similar. So yeah, I mean, it worked out thankfully well for me from that perspective.
Akriti, La Liga is such a big name, and I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in knowing how did La Liga happen to you and what is your work like here?
Yeah, so I work on the international department of La Liga. So I work on a program called the Global Network Program. It's over 6 years now. It's 6 years old, and it's our president, Mr. Javier Tebas. It's his brainchild, in a manner of saying, when he decided that La Liga needs to become an international entity. So that's when the Global Network Program really came into perspective, and there are delegates all over the world that represent La Liga in various countries. We have offices in a few countries, India being one of them. So for me, how did it happen? I mean, I would say being in the right place at the right time, maybe. When La Liga came to India, and when they were looking to establish their office in India, I got the opportunity to interview with them, and I started with a certain different role, and then eventually the international global network role came to me. And yeah, it's been great. I mean, it's been a great journey. It's very prestigious to represent the Spanish Football League for India, definitely. And as I said, right time at the right place, and hopefully they saw something valuable in me, I'm hoping, and hence they chose to hire me. I'm assuming.
Akriti, in your position, you interact with a lot of leaders in the sports industry. Tell us about how the industry is for women leaders out there. Is it more accepting now, and how you've seen things change over the years?
Yeah. So, see, Akshata, if you ask me, there is still a lot that can be done in that capacity. Sports in general, I mean, there are biases in every industry. Sports comes with a double weighted problem, because sports as a entity only is considered something men do. Unfortunately, especially in our country, if I may put it like that. So there's a double effect of that whole male domination in the industry. Has Is it changing? Definitely, it's changing. There are, I mean, I would say, I mean, I'm in a relevant position today as a woman representing the league in the country. I know many other female colleagues who are in great positions, but still, I mean, if you look at even today, the IPL is what, nearly 13, 14 years old. ISL is going to be a decade old. We don't hear of female CEOs. So there is a disconnect somewhere, but there's a journey that's being taken. And I'm hoping that eventually these things will change. So to give you an example from a women leadership perspective, like suppose if I had to, like, I work with La Liga, it's the Spanish football league. So if I had to talk about Spain, now I would say Spain is maybe a decade or two ahead of where we are in terms of, say, women empowerment or even professionalization of sport in general, like, except for cricket. India is still sort of learning how to professionalize sport. So typically in La Liga, like in the last 6 years under the presidency of Mr. Javier Tebas, 30% of the workforce today is women. You hear club presidents in La Liga who are women. I know Leganes, Eibar, some others. The La Liga Foundation head is a woman. There are some people in very relevant spaces in the organization. The MENA region managing director for La Liga is a woman. So things, things take time to change. I'm sure in India we are on a journey to make things change. But having said that, do more efforts need to be made? Definitely. I mean, how women are raised needs to also have a, that will have a bearing eventually. You need to raise your girls with confidence. They should feel equal. That has a bearing. How you're treated at home has a bearing. Eventually, then in a workspace, how everyone treats everyone, not just men treating women properly, even women treating women properly, is something that is of relevance. So I think we've at least started a journey, and we are seeing a change, but it's a long way to go, and hopefully in the coming days we'll see it change. I mean, from 2010 when I started to today, 2023, of course things have changed, and I hope in the next decade or two there'll be a lot of more difference in this scenario.
Akriti, as a woman leader, can you suggest some things that the other women leaders can incorporate or can learn from, to make sure that the industry becomes more gender neutral?
Yeah, firstly, so I don't think I'm a woman leader, but yes, it's you have to hold your own and be confident to represent, or to put yourself out there in a more male-dominated environment, which is not just sports. No, I think women face it everywhere in all the, like, I was recently at a talk which was for women, and I was surprised to know how many women are facing this in many other industries as well. See, once you are, like you said, I mean, to tell other women who are already in positions, relevant positions, I mean, I don't know if it's my place, but for women in general, if I want to say, I would say the most important thing is to believe in yourself, to be confident, to not, as you said, that gender, it should be gender neutral. So, gender, we need to, in our heads, also start going to a place from gender bias to gender indifference. Like, it shouldn't matter to me if Akshata is a female colleague or male colleague. Even women sometimes, tend to be like, oh my God, if your boss, who is a little aggressive, can yell at a guy, he can yell at you. I mean, yelling in general shouldn't be a thing for anyone. But sometimes women also tend to be like, oh my God, I'm a girl. How could he speak to me like that? That also needs to go away. You are in a professional setup. You are hired not as a woman or a man. Should be, that should be the ideal scenario, if you ask me. and everyone needs to work towards that gender indifference. My boss shouldn't look at me as a girl or a boy. I'm his colleague or her colleague. And that's where we need to go, everyone together. So I would say to be confident, to actually believe in equality in its true sense, not to take advantage of any bias that's given. And usually, unfortunately, the people who for whom these rules are made to take advantage, they don't take it. And sometimes there's undue advantage taken, which I am very against. That shouldn't be the case. And then making a peaceful environment for yourself, for women colleagues. I really encourage women to be nice to women, because in my journey, I've seen sometimes women can be the biggest deterrents to women more than even men, right? And that should change for sure. If you believe in equality, if you're genuinely a woman representing women, wanting the scenario to change, then the change begins with women first supporting women, and then the larger picture coming into perspective. So that's what I would say if you ask me.
Can you tell us about La Liga's work towards, the development of women's sports in India?
Women's sports, see, La Liga in general, I mean, is the Spanish football league. The and our agenda is to support Indian football definitely in its initiatives, but it's not our main objective to come and invest money to help Indian football grow. Yes, if we can say provide know-how, technical know-how, we can do something with CSR. We are here to help. We are here to make strategic tie-ups with the stakeholders in the industry. But the Indian football system or the Indian Football Federation is the one that's responsible to grow football or develop football, whether it's for men or women, in its entirety, right? As the Spanish Football League would maybe do it for Spain. So, but having said that, what we have a CSR program with our La Liga Foundation in this place called Anantapur, the Vicente Ferrer Foundation, that we support the rural league there for women. We support a um, residential academy for women where these girls are taught how to live through sports, and it's a beautiful project in its entirety. So that's something that is very close to our heart. It's a great project, and we fund it from a CSR perspective from our La Liga Foundation. Apart from that, we have the Pay for Play La Liga Football Schools program, which is a pan India program, and we have a lot of participation from women in it. In fact, one of our La Liga football students has recently made it to the Indian national team, Kajal D'Souza. We're very proud of it, and that's what we want to achieve by bringing the Spanish way of football to the Indian system. So yeah, those are the little initiatives that we've taken in India, and as we grow in the market, in how we function, and I'm sure there'll be more that will be done in the coming years. But again, I'll repeat that development of football is what the Indian Football Federation would have to do for the country, pretty much.
That's true. Akriti, lastly, one message for all the women out there who are looking to make a career in the world of sports.
I mean, I said that before, I think, Akshata, that everyone believe in yourself. That's the most important thing for any woman. Like confidence, belief that you can do something. If you're passionate about sports, why not? It's a booming industry. It's still it's just the tip of the iceberg. In the next decade or two, we are going to see immense growth, I believe. So sky is the limit. I would say, girls, come on in. And the most important thing is that there's scarcity of women in the industry, so there's an opportunity for more women to come in and get relevant positions or get relevant experience in the industry. So I think it's a great place to work at, and I encourage every woman who might watch this to join. If you're a passionate sports lover, take that plunge. It might lead you to great places.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Akriti, for speaking with us today. Good luck
Thank
to
you,
you in your
Akshita.
future endeavors.
Thank you so
Thank
much, Akshita, for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you as always.